Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterland universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Let's get back to the whispers of that little bird from a few minutes ago. You were speaking to additional match liquidity and what that could potentially look like. It's my understanding that you guys have some pretty exciting news over at Team Archmage, and I'd love to give you the opportunity to kind of share that with the listeners here.
Yeah, thanks. So the news I won't delay it is that we are going to be providing those liquidity bots at Archmage for Modern. So we reached out to Matt after he mentioned that was something that they were looking into doing, and just said, hey, we can do that. Is that something that you would like? And he's like, yeah, no, let's do it. So we're kind of working out a bunch of the details. We do have accounts now that have some assets on them. I'm hoping that we'll start to see the first matches being played somewhere in the next week. We'll see how it goes. We've got kind of a plan on our side for how we want to address this. We're going to start with it a bit modest and iterate. We've got some custom development that we've got to do to be able to support it. So our first step is just kind of to get things playing matches and then improve both how they play matches as well as our ability to understand what's the effect of the matches that they are playing. Is it actually doing something good for the format or not? So yeah, that's our news.
That's awesome. And so how many accounts are you looking to roll out initially? Is this something that you're going to kind of scale it up and down depending on to kind of try to find like a good sweet spot for it? Or what do the numbers look like for now?
Sure. So the numbers for now is there's 100 accounts, and that's broken up between, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was close to 80 bronze, 10 silver, 10 gold accounts. The bronze accounts then again are split up between having roughly like novice cap cards, and then another half of them being bronze cap cards. I guess bronze cap doesn't actually exist anymore, but you know what I mean. So we're doing that. They're also going to be buying energy using vouchers, so that these accounts aren't special accounts that have benefits that other players don't. They're normal accounts. They just don't have a spell book, so they can't earn anything. But we'll be having every account try to play 50 matches, so that is going to add roughly 5,000 matches per day to Modern. Modern's currently hovering somewhere around 15,000 matches per day, so this should add about an extra third onto what it's seeing right now.
Excellent. And so where are the cards that they're using coming from?
I'm actually not sure. They're Splinterlands cards. I don't think that they came off the market. I think they are packs that were opened, but I think that you'd have to get confirmation on that from, I don't know, Royal Eagle or Matt or someone who actually was in the process of providing those. We've just asked for the accounts, and they're saying they're here.
Oh, so were the accounts set up by the team, and they kind of delegated the cards or put the cards in the accounts, and they just kind of giving you guys the sort of like the posting keys for them?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are all Splinterlands assets. We don't own anything.
Okay. And so you don't, so is the team also going to be providing the vouchers to buy the energy then.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
in terms of scaling, scaling is really inefficient with vouchers. So because they have the mechanic where it adds an extra 50% for every 25 vouchers, I think it is. That grows out of control very rapidly. So we're going to start with them buying, I guess, 26 per day, because we normally generate 24 energy per day. So we'll top it up with 26. We'll see what that looks like. And if we need more, it's going to be a bit of a balancing act between, do we need to add additional accounts, or do we need to add additional energy? What's more cost effective? How many cards do we have available to fill those accounts in?
Is there a plan to, so you mentioned, and maybe I misunderstood, but novice and bronze is where most of these automated accounts are going to be participating. Is there a plan to grow into the higher ratings?
Yeah, so that's going to be evaluated as we go. Our assumption is that we need to build a really good floor underneath the ratings of the players that are currently in the league to push them up. And then we want to see, once we've done that, is that enough, or do we need more? But right now we just kind of want to make room for people who are wanting to join into that format, who just literally can't even get into modern, into bronze. And then if that puts silver in a terrible place, and the 10 silver and gold accounts that we've added aren't enough to solve some of those issues, then we'll increase those as needed. We've kind of looked at some KPIs that we can potentially try to track for, is this having a good effect? So we'll look at those and adjust as necessary.
And what's the thinking as far as, are these bots going to be operating within the same rating parameters as any other account? Are they going to be fixed at 200, 400, 600, etc.? Or what's the thinking around, and the system that's going to be put in place for keeping these bots, at particular windows of rating for players to come up across?
Right. So yeah, these bots aren't special. These accounts aren't special. That was something that Matt made very clear, that he wanted this to just be a normal account with no additional benefits. I think part of that is to, again, reduce the amount of development effort that needs to happen. But one of the main things it seemed that Matt was wanting is someone as a third party to be able to take on the burden of doing this. So we're looking to give them a very turnkey solution that uses what's already in place. So that means that we're going to have to be responsible for figuring out how these accounts stay where they're supposed to. That's probably going to mean some combination of changing how our hand finding works, to make sure that they're playing appropriate teams for where they're at, potentially limiting the collections that they have access to. Can potentially have lower level summoners and higher level summoners, and if it's getting too high, just use a lower level summoner so it lowers all the other cards that are on the account. There's different kind of things that we can do to try to ensure that they're in the range that they should be.
Yeah, you mentioned adjusting the sort of the hand finding. So is that you guys are going to kind of try to dial basically how good the bots are? I mean, are they just going to be running, the same sort of algorithm or the same sort of hand finding that, what someone would get with an Archmage token?
Right. So to start, they're probably going to be running something similar. We do have some kind of levers we can pull right now to adjust it. But right now, we just want to get things spun up, get some of these ones climbing to the rating range that we want them to be at. And then we'll start adding more custom stuff to allow them to stay where we want. And this wasn't part of the official agreement with Splinterlands or anything, but it's something that I want to do, is to try to make these bots be a better experience to play against. I don't want them just to be playing the most optimal thing possible given the cards that it has. I want it to be what is the best player experience that I can offer someone that I'm against. So now that I don't have the incentive that I need to win,
Yeah.
It changes kind of what I need to target for my own finding.
Well, what does
That's
that mean
cool.
in your mind? Like, what are you kind of thinking when you say, a good player experience? Is that just kind of, variability, trying out new things? What do you envision, right now that sort of looking like, once you're able to kind of get that kind of tweaked, in the next few months, 6 months, a year from now?
I mean, honestly, some of this stuff I'm just gonna have to figure out as I go. Um, like I mentioned, I do have some KPIs that I've kind of developed that I'm hoping will help tell me if I'm making something that is good.
Mm.
Some of it is also going to be just anecdotal evidence that probably I'm going to get Max to collect. He's a guy that loves surveys, so I'm probably going to let him loose on the Splinterlands Discord and get some sentiment surveys up for people to tell us how their experience is going with these things when they're running into them. I'm
What
trying to
are
develop the system so they don't run into each other, because that would be a complete waste of time. But yeah.
Yeah, what are some of the, you keep mentioning you have some performance indicators you want to look at. Do you mind sharing those with us, or is that kind of something you want to keep, as sort of a trade secret, or do you mind sharing kind of what some of those performance indicators you're going to be looking at?
Sure. Yeah. Some of them that I'm looking at, this isn't an exhaustive list. It's just kind of the top of my head. Um, like what is, this isn't just for my bots as well. This will be for all players. What is the average queue time that people are seeing? What is the average card level per league that players are playing? How many total matches are now happening at each league versus what they were before? We can kind of monitor the trends on that. What's the average earning per account versus the collection power of the account? What's the average staked SPS that we're seeing per league? There's just different stuff that we can kind of see of, is this getting into something that looks like it's more appropriate given what people own? And then try to adjust to make those numbers look good.
And are you just pulling like all the battle data all day long to kind of get this information?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It would be nice if there was a better way for us to get this information, but again, in the interest of, we want something that Splinterlands has to do no work and they just get all benefit. We're going to be doing all that ourselves. So that's some of the custom development that's not going to be available day one. Day one is going to be just kind of getting them spun up and then making some adjustments as we need to. Like right now, I don't have a system to buy energy, for example. That's not something that I've had to worry about before. So I'm going to have to do some custom code around that. And then eventually, once I've kind of got the bot itself in a functional spot that's good for modern, then I'll work on some of these other things. But we already do collect a ton of data. I'm pretty sure we collect every match that's played in the game, potentially multiple times. So yeah, we have a very broad view. We just need to develop the tools to dig into it.
Is there any room for kind of leveraging these bots for meta discovery? I mean, I know that Archmage, I believe, offers something similar. I know XBot for a while offered like an experimental type hand. Is that something that's feasible where, on paper maybe this account or excuse me, this lineup could potentially be pull a win on an in this rule set, but is there any way to kind of, I guess, spoon feed the algorithm non-existent data and just, instead of making a helping hand from historical stuff, looking at just the potential theory of this particular lineup and order of cards, and therefore hopefully unlock maybe some new metas that maybe the player base hasn't tapped into yet?
Yeah, I think this is kind of going outside the scope of this particular project with trying to get these bots spun up, but definitely that is a thing that can be done. I don't want to talk too much about the secret sauce of how our stuff works, but that's a good idea.
Well, thanks, Proto. Um,
That means you're definitely not the first person to think of it then.
Oh man.
No comment.
Well, cool, dude. Yeah, again, congratulations, man. I know that it's always good, and I appreciate you guys at Archmage for playing fair ball. I don't think, throughout the recent saga of sodium distribution throughout the community has not once have I heard Archmage being a suspect. So I very much appreciate, you called out earlier, you have a strong sense of ethics and morals when it comes to all things Archmage, and it feels like for all intents and purposes that has come to full fruition, and you guys have continued to play fair game. So I'm happy that you guys have gotten the opportunity to run this for the team, and yeah, hopefully we see the the desired fruit born from this project, man. I'm excited to see what happens. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited to see it as well, and I'm sure I'll be getting an extra pinch of salt from the community when things aren't going well, but hopefully we can make things palatable.
No, I think this is a great step, and it's it's clearly something that needs to happen, and the fact that we have you guys, we have Archmage in the community, someone who's tried to uphold the standards and be fair and follow the rules, who is able to kind of step in and help take this over so that the team can focus development time on other things. And whereas you guys sort of already have the expertise to do this, the fact that you can kind of step in and do it is great. I think probably this is probably the biggest, at least from my perspective, I think it's the biggest issue with the game right now. Is that we with the match liquidity so low in modern, it's made stuff tough for people. So it would be great to be able to see all the things that people have been saying. Oh, we just have to give it time. We just have to give it time. And this issue with the max decks all over the place will sort itself out. And it's not going to sort itself out, but hopefully this is a solution that'll help it push it to get sorted out. So I'm excited. I'm excited by this, and it's great that you guys are able to get this going so quickly. I thought it was going to maybe take some more time, but do you know like how long have you because this hasn't been announced by the team yet. We're kind of talking about it here for the first time. And, when did you start talking about it with the team, or did they kind of have everything start to get things in place with getting the accounts set up and the cards in the right places? Or was this something that, just kind of came together quickly and they were able to get, what they needed to get set up on their end, and you guys were just kind of, ready to get things going on your end this fast?
Yeah, so we started engaging with them, I believe, in the last 2 weeks of March. So I guess that's the week of the 18th, I guess, is when we started talking to them about it, kind of hammered out some details of what they were looking for, gave them some proposals. I think actually we probably overdid it a little bit. We tried to we wanted to write down like some notes of what we were thinking, and we had ended up giving Matt a 10-page document, which I'm sure he didn't read most of. But yeah, it would have come out sooner actually, but I was on vacation last week. It's just got back, so that delayed it a little bit. But yeah, no, I'm back, and we've kind of worked out a lot of the details with them, and pretty close to hitting the ground running.
Awesome. Where'd you go on vacation?
Mexico. Went to the Mayan Riviera.
Nice, somewhere warm. That's great.
Yep.
One more thing about these bots coming in, Proto. Are they all named in your likeness, or are they the very funny like this is not a bot account name, or what? Is there any sort of is there going to be any sort of indication that you've been playing an Archmage led automated account?
Yeah, I know. I think they're named all like Ding 1, 2, 3. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna work because I haven't actually seen the accounts. I know that Royal Eagle did stock them, so he probably has that answer. But I haven't actually seen them myself, so I'm hoping that there's something that's easy to identify given how the novice bots work. I'm gonna guess that they're gonna name it something intelligible, but I don't know because they don't need spell books. They can really name it whatever they want because it's just a new
Sure.
account.
Well, I
I'm gonna
hope
try to see
I
if
hope
I can,
Eagle. Yeah, I hope he gets back to you. But I want to see Eagle name all the accounts like Royal Eagle 1, Royal Eagle 2. Just 500 new Royal Eagles on the scene.
Yeah. I guess one thing I should mention is I only know of our interaction with Splinterlands. I don't know if there's other services that are also trying to fulfill this service. I kind of hope there is because I think it's good to have redundancy for these sorts of things. So maybe you'll go against Proto 123 one day and Siler 567 the next. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
cool.
that'd be a question for Town Hall maybe.